this is how I'm trying to explain tense in a simplified form using this model here. So, as he said correctly, cravings are also thoughts, pretty much. So first, when you see the object, we see this is the first thought pattern is shown in the yellow here. After that, there's more thoughts about that, craving, thoughts of craving. So that's a craving. So craving is not a glue or somewhere. They are also thoughts. But after we like an object or we dislike an object, so if we like object, we crave to keep it. We dislike object, we crave to push it out from up. So we crave for both. In other words, not only for objects we like, also the objects we dislike. Now this is something called clinging to 5 aggregates as self. So we talked about our 5 aggregates before. So what we are clinging here as for the form or the mental formations, feelings, perceptions or consciousness. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, these are the 5 aggregates. So we cling to that because of our unwise attention. Because we think everything as permanent. Here because of our unwise attention, everything we see as permanent, everything as satisfactory and everything as self. Nityai, satisfactory and self. What's the Pali?
Anicca dukkha.
Anicca dukkha. Opposite is
anicca
nicca. Satisfactory.
Dukkha sukha.
Sukha.
Atta anatta.
So this is the formation of the clinging to the 5 aggregates as self. So we call it Sakkaya Ditthi in Pali. So there are 4 types of Sakkaya Ditthi, 4 into the 5 aggregates. There were totally 20 types of Sakkaya Ditthi. For example, one can see as the body is me, or somebody can think like I am the body, or somebody can think like the body is in me, or I am in the body. So same goes to the feelings, perceptions and mental formations. So 5 aggregates into 4, there are 20 types of Sakkaya Ditthi or personality views. So with ignorance, so this is what's happening. With ignorance, we see everything as permanent and everything as satisfactory and self. Therefore, we cling to things and our cycle keeps going on and on. Now, how can we get rid of ignorance? It's a tough one. So, Buddha was asked once in Avijjapahana Sutra, Venerable Sir, how should one know and how should one see for the ignorance to be abandoned and true knowledge to arise? Buddha said it's very simple, Bhikkhu. When one knows and sees the I as impermanent, ignorance is abandoned and the true knowledge arises. When one knows and sees forms as impermanent, ignorance is abandoned and true knowledge arises. So it goes for all the 6 senses. So these are 2 different things. One knows and sees. One knows is kind of the knowledge. We know it's impermanent. We all know. Do we see it within? That's the question. So impermanent object, whatever is impermanent, it arises and changes while it's there and subject to decay. So anything is impermanent. There's a rising, changing while it's existing and withering away. So same goes for our body as well. For example, here there is a rising there's a change, and withering away or death. So everything is constructed has these three features. All constructed phenomena, sankharas. So with say for example, if we have no more ignorance, so everything we see has impermanent, and there is we can have a contemplation of the body. That's a perception. For example, perception of the breath here, and there is contemplation of the feeling. So there's this is Kayanupassana and this is Vedananupassana, and contemplation of consciousness, Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, and there's Dhammanupassana. So these are like 4 gates, gatekeepers. So we are constantly, these are the 4 foundations of mindfulness, basically. So we are constantly aware. We have the contemplation of each of these areas. So with that, we see everything as impermanence, suffering with our wise attention. We see everything as impermanent, suffering, and as non-self. So no more craving. So if there's no more craving, this part is gone, no more clinging. So pretty much this could be a mind of a person who has enlightened. They are within these 4 frames of mindfulness all the time, pretty much. So when they see, they only see. They don't keep making more and more thoughts. You have heard about ditte mata. So when they see, they are only aware of the object. That's it. They don't want more. They are not craving for anymore. They don't have any more clinging to that. There's no taints arising. So just see. They only see. It's a special type of consciousness called anidasana vinyane. Just when you see, you only see. Just a basic level of consciousness. So this is could be just hypothesis. My hypothesis. It could be a kind of stage of an enlightened being of the mind. So they are fully aware of all these contemplations. So this is a summary. It's a long talk. So summary. So for example, think there is an island of ignorance. In this island, there is a factory of being. So there are 6 corporations: the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the touch, and the mind itself. So there are 6 corporations. These are the 6 senses. And corporation cannot produce anything unless there is raw material. So here's the raw material: objects, sounds, smells, taste, and touch. Now the factory needs a power supply. That's a craving. And there are products. So one is feeling. It produces feeling, there's perception, mental formations, and consciousness. It's actually starting with consciousness. Anyway, these are the 4 products. And once the factory is also investing for future factory. So this is the investment here for the future. These are thoughts. These are the karma. And also the blueprint of the factory is transferred information. This is the Patisandhi Vinyane, or the rebirth consciousness. So there are byproducts of this factory. So there could be, for example, anger, envy, and grief. These are byproducts. It will pollute you and pollute the environment. So what do we need to do now? We're thinking, who runs this company? Is there an owner? Is there a CEO? So we go, the person will go and find, is there a CEO? When we look for the CEO's office, there is a seat, but there is no CEO. The seat is empty.